work with different media, but recently I've been focusing on video and video installation, and but text and writing has also been always important for me in literature. Yeah, and I mean, at the moment I'm very interested in, on the one hand, in the question of the documentary and, for example, why certain images are more credible than others, and how the credibility of those images is created, and also how finding different, how we treat documentary images and also documentary text, and the second part, or the second subject that I'm interested in is also the question of acting and performance, because I think I try to work, recently I've been working with adolescents, because I'm very interested in this kind of in their kind of performance that is not a rehearsed performance that we would expect from actors, but still, like, they're negotiating new ways, but at the same time they have a very specific way to act already, and I'm kind of trying to also to put next to each other like different kinds of performance. Like, for example, in my last project there were professional actors and adolescents who were acting next to each other, and this also created some tension, but for me it was interesting to see them next to each other, and yeah, and this is also something that interested me in my project in the framework of Hors that I'm doing here in Parc Saint-Léger. The project is based in the city La Machine, where I was invited to do a project in collaboration with the college Jean, and on the topic of the coal mine, and here I'm working together with the students and with an old miner. So I made an interview with a miner that is actually being reenacted by the students, and the video itself is about the process of memorizing the stories of our ancestor, and it's a strange effect because I was very attentive to, because the interview was transcribed really literally, and I was very focused on to keep really the phrasing of the miner, and to keep really also the way he speaks in, because I think it's also important not just to remember the content of things, but also the way in which they are said, yes. And also something that I was interested in is the idea of not being able to access the past or the history directly, but having a filter, kind of like that we hear these stories through like being performed and being acted out by adolescents who actually represent the contemporary. And we only see this, but through them or through the content of the speech, we get to know something about the history of this place. One part of my video project, Salle des Plans, is the reenactment of the interview with the miner, and the other part is the documentation of a photo shooting that I did at the college with the students, because I was also invited to do a workshop at the school, in which the students developed ideas for films that could take place at the mine or that are related to the mine, and for these films we were actually making movie posters, and in the shooting for those movie posters I documented, or I made a documentation about this shooting, and what interested me here was, on the one hand, to kind of document the fictions, or like document the fictionalization of the mine, and on the other hand to have to have this approach that is really based on the mythologies, or like the mythologies that are built around the mind and that are still present in the memory and in the memory of the adolescents and students. And I wanted, I was interested in kind of combining this approach, this fictionalizing approach, or like documentation of the fiction, with the more strict and more documentary approach of the reenactment of the interview.